Hi everyone, so I'll be running through the rough final report guidelines that your team needs to submit by the end of the trading window. It's really important that you guys pay attention, listen to what is required in the trading final report, and take note of what we judge on. So let's start off with the judging criteria. So there's 4 different criteria. Number 1 is final portfolio value, how much return on investment you may have. But just because you make the most amount of return, or do you have the highest return by the end, does not automatically mean you win. Alright, it does not mean you get, for example, first place. So it is a criteria we take into account, but we also have to balance it with the other criteria. So the second criteria is creativity in strategy. How has your overall investment plan? Is it creative? Have you managed to strategically align your investments with the client's mindset, motivation, morals, and ethics, for example? So this should be clearly mentioned. You can read this. Number 3 is the financial analysis. What type of models you use, data you use, what type of analysis you used, why did you use this type of analysis and not another type of analysis. So it's really important that you take this into account too, especially part B and C, as it will be the bulk of your report. And how have the decisions you made and the sort of judgment, how did you judge? What did you take? What steps did you take to come up with a conclusion to buy this investment, to buy this number of investment, how much of an investment? To sort of support your overall team strategy. So the creativity in this is really important. And the last part, final report quality. It is necessary that the slideshow follows the word limit and the maximum number of slides, the total number of slides allowed. Make sure to address all the questions and requirements given in the guidelines, and additional marks are also rewarded when the slideshow has quality and is presentable. It has good design. Alright, not just a bunch of words around the screen. So let's get into the detail and the deliverables. All this can be found on our website. So the details, I'll just brush through any important things you guys should take into account. You guys should be able to read this yourself, and we shouldn't need to explain every single line to you. So final report must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. Tuesday, 8 September 2026. Use any application presentation, take any design. Content is of key. You can use Microsoft PowerPoint, Canva slides, etc. Guidance is provided for the suggested number of slides used in each section. There is no restriction on the number of slides for each section, but we have an overall limit of slides being 50, and the word count for each section must be observed within 30 words leeway. So for example, if we gave a word count to be around 200, you must include around 200 of on-slide worded content. But if you want to spread out your 200 words over like 5 slides compared to fitting it into only 2 slides, it doesn't matter as long as your total number of slides for your whole presentation is below 50. Alright, so page 1, what should be included? Should be obviously your name of every team member, Bursa, your team's invest lab name, your team's name, and your category. Section 1 should include your team reflection. So this competition is about what you have learned, soft skills. What have your team learned? What investment challenges, roadblocks, and issues you faced? Any team quarrels, disputes, disagreements. How do you guys work together to overcome it? You can do this per person. They can say, let's say, my team member's reflection, team member A is blah 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 blah. My member B's reflection is blah 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 blah. But you can do it also as an overall team to do take into account that we want to see quality and what you guys have really learned during this investment time. Now, section 2 should be most of the bulk of your investment strategy. Your report, being your team's investment strategy. Again, follow the word limit. The slide count could be higher, lower, it doesn't matter as long as you contain the relevant amount of info, because we know that each team will have a different design choice. So overall, your team's investment strategy, how did you approach the client's investment goal? Did you follow his, remember I mentioned earlier, ethics, motivation? How did your team approach? Why did your team buy the investments that you did buy, and why in the quantity that you chose? And what are some of the reasons you decide to sell any investments if you sold any? So it is not about complexity. If you spam 5 models and formulas, that does not automatically mean you win, because the ability to deliver content clearly is also important. Sorry, just checking. So to stand out, you can also come up with catchy names or slogans to explain your investments with the theme of the client. So all this we take into account is to see the level of detail that your team has put into deciding the investments and the overall strategy that your team has chosen. So do take into account this. Now, section 3, portfolio overview. So it's around 5 to 8 slides, one slide for each trading note, one slide explaining the chosen portfolio split, and 3 to 4 slides listing out all the investments that you own by the end of the trading window. Don't worry, I'll explain this in a bit. So within this section, do include any form of data representation, pie chart, bar charts, graph, etc., that illustrates the proportion of the different types of investment within your portfolio. So explain your overall portfolio split, how many percent of the portfolio is in stocks, bonds, ETFs, cash, etc., and illustrate this data using sort of a graphical representation. Then explain in 300 words or less why did you choose to buy this number of stocks, this number of bonds, ETFs, etc. Okay, so it's really important that we take this into account. So include individual tables for each investment type, stock, bonds, or ETFs that you hold by the end of the competition. For each, include the stock ticker name, quantity, and total value that you own by the end. So for example, list out every investment that you have by the end of the competition. Alright. Then choose 2 trading notes, any stock, bond, or ETFs from your portfolio in Bursa Invest Lab. Include the selected trading notes. So for example, you choose 2 stocks. Let's say you choose stock A and stock B that you bought. It could be, let's say you bought like 500 stocks. You just choose 2 that you like, that your team likes, and explain in detail why your team has chosen these 2 stocks. Choose maybe more interesting stocks that you researched on, and explain how it aligns with your overall investment strategy. So the overall slide guidance that we give is 1 slide each for each trading note, each stock that you choose, or each investment type that you choose, 1 page or 1 slide for this data representation and the 300 words just written out, and how many ever slides you need to list out the number of investments that you own. And last but not least, include your company message. Include maybe 1 to 2 slides with around this word limit of a personal message to the company expressing your hopes, aspirations, and thoughts for its future successes. And to conclude why your team would be the most suitable to guide their investments. Alright, and last one, references, guidance, 1 slide, include the links to any external resources that your team has used. So this should be all. Do take note that in your investment strategy and your portfolio overview anywhere or how, include remembering this. Alright, let me go back up. Include how does it as your strategy help achieve the goal that the client wants, the target value. It's really, really important. You might be able to use formulas like CAGR. Do research that, CAGR. I'm just giving some tips. Annual return, use some formulas that you find online. Okay, so it's really important that you do take into account how to calculate whether how much return is needed to achieve your client goals, and any other financial analysis and models you use. Okay, so that's about it. Do shoot us any questions in the WhatsApp group, in your Teams group, whatever, to us, and we could answer you to our best ability. Thank you.